Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
Hello, and welcome to another Hailing Frequencies Open podcast, where we continue to trek through the past and future of Star Trek. Today, we are trekking into a different universe. As always, I am your host, Mike Jones, and joining me in the virtual studio, he looks like he should be in Magic Mike, but doesn't have the moves for it. It's Damien.
You know, that is the nicest intro that she has written for me in a long time. I will accept all of that. Thank you.
It was a last second text. And who are we talking about? Let's see. Why is her family rationing water? Because she squandered all their savings on buying Moopsie pins from fan sets. It's Lanita.
That sounds about right. I figured I need to have every iteration of Moopsie and Merv in my closet for all times. And here's the thing, Damazon, is that because we have a new guest on their initial joining with us, I didn't want to go where I really wanted to go, which was to put you in a movie that we both know we found at a yard sale. I was like, that'd be too mean. So it's nice today.
She's talking about a really terrible gay porn that we found.
At a yard sale?
At a yard sale.
Where are these yard sales you're going to?
Our guest is dying to speak. You better introduce her, Mike.
Okay. You may know her from the Sci-Fi Sisters podcast, or as the Cinnamon Cenephile on her own pod, CinnCine Goes SyFy. In each episode, she rolls out the red carpet for a special guest to dish on their all-time favorite sci-fi flick. Today, she's the guest on our little corner of the web, so she's brought a film for us to watch and discuss. Please welcome Subrina Wood.
Hey, or should I say whoop, whoop?
Whoop,
Yep.
Yes.
Red alert.
Yeah, Sister Sabrina here. You're right. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about this film with you guys.
Thank you so much for joining. Yeah. So the movie we're talking about today is Fast Color. I keep saying Fast Colors when I'm talking about it with an S, but it doesn't have the S.
No.
So I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, I messed it up there and there.
It's because that's what they said. Like, that's how she says it. So I understand why you want to add the
colors.
S to colors. Correct.
Right. But before we jump into that, let's get to know our guest a little bit.
Hey, yeah.
So
Get acquainted.
Let's have some.
I have to say before we do that, I have been a fan of the Sci-Fi Sisters for kind of a while and was like very eager to connect. So when I got a message from you that I was so excited, and that when we proposed this idea of you bring us a movie and we talk about it, I think we got the answer back in 10 minutes. And you said Fast Color. It was like ready to go, lined up. And so
that's a professional, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, there you go. There you go. That is whipping us into shape over there.
Podcasting royalty.
Yes.
No, we're fans of yours. So we were psyched. I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that show. Sure. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here. And I thought it was a great idea to kind of do it with me as CinnCine and not as Sci-Fi Sabrina. So this is interesting. This is my first time leaving my own little world and coming out here as CinnCine Goes SyFy. Wow.
Excellent.
Hey.
So like, when did you start Sci-Fi Sisters? That you've been doing that for a while. Yeah,
we're gonna start our 5th season on January 24th. It's gonna start season 5.
Awesome.
So we've been doing that a while. Over 100 episodes there of the Sci-Fi Sister podcast, and then Sci-Fi Sister Inc., which is our YouTube channel, just started last year. And that's where we find the shows that we now have. We have the live show, and we have 2 Moons and a Mic with the ElfQuest show, and then my show, CinnCine Goes SyFy, and now we have Soul of the Story with Derek Tyler Attico talking about writing and creating and being cool. So
Wow,
it's a full. We're getting a full lineup over there. So this is really fun.
that's great. So it's like a almost like a network, but
Yep.
within a network too. Like, aren't you on the Trek Geeks? Uh,
Forever. We have
yeah,
Trek
yeah,
Geeks
yeah.
Forever. Yes, the podcast is over on the Trek Geek Network.
Uh-huh.
And then the YouTube, the four shows are over on our YouTube channel, which is
Got it.
not part of the Trek Geek Network, but we're still Trek Geeks.
Yeah, right, right. We're
Yeah.
all
Dotted
Well,
line.
Yeah.
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 Dan and Bill were a big help to me when I first started my podcast years ago. So we should
Yes.
actually get them on at some point.
You should. They actually helped Tamia before we became the Sci-Fi Sisters. Tamia called and they helped her. She was talking about a pod before I even met Tamia. So it's just really weird. They are two of the nicest guys. They always will help somebody and try to, explain this whole world of podcasting. And that's a lot of people
Yeah.
doing it now. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
they were very helpful for us. Still are.
That's awesome.
Now, how did the Sci-Fi Sisters connect with one another? Like, how did you all meet?
Yeah, we have a whole podcast
Origin story.
on our origin story, which is pretty interesting. It happened 5 years ago at AwesomeCon, and that's when it actually physically happened. But it started with Fran Taylor and myself. We were both in a Facebook group or various Facebook groups when Discovery started. And the show hadn't even aired yet, and they had these Facebook groups, and they were, the trolls came out after Sonequa Martin Green. I mean, they were just chomping at the bit to just take it down. And so we were kind of punching up at people that were saying these really egregious things. And we was like, really, dude? Like, what? And a lot of times I was noticing the person that was giving me backup on my comment, or I was giving backup on her comment, was this Fran Taylor person, this Fran T. I was like, oh, who's Fran T? So we DM'd each other and we were like, girl. She was like, girl. I was like, what is going on with these Star Trek fans? And we were like, these are not fans. I don't know who these people are. They say they like Star Trek, but these are not fans. So we ended up talking, and we both fell in love with Ash Tyler on the show. We were like going after him. We were like, he's mine, he's mine. We were calling ourselves Brandy and Monica. We were doing our Brandy and Monica over Ash.
Yes.
Woo! We were loving that boy. Oh my God. So anyway, so we were like, oh, we're going to the AwesomeCon. We're going to have a panel talking about Discovery. We could not, and we had never met. So we meet in DC. I'm here anyway in Maryland, but Fran comes up from Norfolk. We go to AwesomeCon. We get to the panel, and who comes over and says, hey, can I sit with you guys? But Tamia, who we don't even know. We don't know. We're like, yeah, sure. We're like little kids waiting for the show to start. Yeah. Sit with us at our lunch table. So she sits down, and a couple of other people, like, we kind of know, they sit down, and we're ready. We're like here to praise Sonequa Martin Green, who we knew from The Walking Dead, and I had seen her on the fairy tale show. What was that one?
No, Once Upon a Time.
Once
Yeah,
Upon
she
a
was on
Time,
that.
right?
Love.
Oh my God, she was so evil in Once Upon a Time. I was like, who is Sonequa Martin Green? I love this actress. So the panel starts, and they're talking about Sonequa for a minute, and we're like, yeah. And I think we got like maybe one question out of the three of us, and then the show went into all this other stuff, and and I understand that it was really big about Stamos and Culber, and I was all there for it, but we were like, no. See, wait. The star of the show is Sonequa Martin Green. I just want to back up for a second. And so, because we had gone through, number one, we had many years where we had no Star Trek. And even the last two franchises of Star Trek had no Black female on the bridge. I mean, Enterprise, Voyager, no Black female in the cast. I said, so now here you go. You're just going to throw a horror up at me for 55 years or whatever it is. And now you finally go back and get a sister. Thank you, Jesus. And I want to talk about this because you're finally doing what you've been trying to tell me you're doing with that IDIC pin all this time. So, everybody's in it. Great. And we could not get another question in there. And we were so mad coming out of there. I remember standing in the hallway at the convention center in DC and just saying, this will never happen again. We're going to get our own show, and we're going to talk blackety black all day long. And I don't care. You can come on the show and talk Black with us. You can come on the show and talk Star Trek with us, but you will never tell me next question. What? So that's what happened?
Love it.
This is
I
an
love
excellent
it.
story.
It's amazing.
Because the thing, like, the minute you were like, oh yeah, we decided to go on these boards, we met up and having the comments, and then, oh, this person's back me. And you all had a whole conversation without having a conversation when you met, being like, and
Right.
it was gangbusters from there. I love it.
Yeah,
I know.
it was rough. That opening of Discovery was, I've never seen anything like it. Now I'm the kid and Fran, the two of us. We were the two little black girls that saw horror on 1966. We were watching the daggone show. So this was
You've been
like,
waiting. You've been waiting.
yeah, I mean, come on. So don't even tell us anything, because we're about to go down and like pulling earrings off. Okay, all right, let's go. Because we've been waiting for this for decades.
Yeah.
Decades.
And just really quickly, I mean, you probably talk about it, on your other show, but like, were you satisfied in totality with her growth, with her character arc, with where she ended? Is there anything that you wish were different during that series?
Just summarize all of Discovery. If you
can. Well, as we say, season 1 and 2 is just on continuous play all the time for the SyFy sisters. I mean, I have said it. Season 1 and 2 is some of the best Star Trek ever. We told Sonequa herself this. I don't care. I'm not saying some of the best new Trek. I'm not saying it is some of the best Trek ever. So, and I've seen every single iteration of Trek there is in this world. And I'm here to tell you, this is some of the best. Definitely had weak stories, but I don't know why everybody treats that show as if we didn't have a totally weak season of Next Gen from the beginning. I mean, I was concerned when Next Gen came out, but people didn't like. Well, they kind of did take Picard down. He was old, he was bald, and they didn't want him there. So maybe this is just a thing that Star Trek people do. They try to kill the captain for a season. But yeah, but I think it just took on a whole really personal racial thing that was unnerving. And for Michelle Yeoh as well. I mean, it was just unbecoming an officer, a gentleman. Mm-hmm. So, but I loved the ending of Discovery. I loved the whole arc. I mean, there was definitely some, pieces where they kind of went off and we were like, what is going on? Are we saving the whole freaking universe again? I agree. Mm-hmm. But there was definitely incredible growth of her character. And I love the fact that she was a character that, yes, she was whispering, she was crying, she didn't quite know what she was going to do or how she was going to do it, but she got that daggone job done. Mm-hmm. She wasn't this infallible person that, has no chink in the armor. And of course you're going to get the job done. She was like anybody else who's happened to be brilliant, but had all these character flaws, and she was going to work through these character flaws and get this finished and grow into this position, even though, that was kind of a thing where like, why do the black people always have to grow into the position? But come on, I wanted somebody fully pipped, and we did get Captain Freeman fully pipped. She came into the show as a captain. Thank you very much.
She sure did.
But I love Discovery. It has given us all of this new Trek. It wouldn't be anything. You wouldn't have Section 31 coming out January 24th. Thank you, Michelle Yeoh. I can't wait to see you. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
None of us would be here doing this.
You would not be doing this if it was not for Discovery. So everybody, take a pause. Thank Sonequa Martin Green for putting up with all this mess, because my girl put up with some stuff.
And stuff you probably don't even know about.
Oh, you will, and will never hear.
Never know. Nope.
You will never hear. And so did all the rest of that cast too. Everybody, the whole Stamos Colbert thing, everything, Gray, all that, wow. Everybody took a hit, everybody. So thank you all, cast of Discovery. I love you. I've met a lot of them. They're very nice people. And I watch the show all the time. I watch it all the time.
That's awesome. Listen, we all have our little comfort show where you're like, yep, I need a little bit of this today.
Yeah.
I just need to revisit my
if it's not DS9, it's Discovery, but well, then it's TOS. Well, then it's it don't matter. Whatever show, come on, just put it on.
should we jump into the movie?
Yeah, I feel like we can talk about anything for hours
I
with you, but we
know.
did come here with a purpose today.
Yeah,
I always
yeah.
derail the purpose. That's my role.
Well, I'm going to start a little bit because I want to talk about why I picked this particular film.
That was
So,
my first question.
yeah. And it's an independent film. It's kind of like a unicorn because you rarely see a science fiction film that is led by a Black female who is not a derivative of DC, Marvel, Star Trek, or Star Wars. So if you take all four of those out, I mean, you're taking out almost every other Black female that's been a superhero in a movie or had superpowers in a movie. So here we have a whole new IP, a standalone thing. And we have a trifecta of Black actors who knocked this out of the park. I was excited to see Lorraine Toussaint, who's been in a million things. Yes, I
Heard that
love
voice.
her.
I didn't read anything about it, and I just like, why do I know that voice? That voice is very familiar. And then when she popped, I was like, oh.
Can you tell us what else? Because I know that I've seen her in a million things, and I honestly, I'm sorry, I can't name one.
She's in Selma. She's in Friday Night Lights.
She's currently in The Equalizer.
The Equalizer. Yep. She's
The
been
reboot.
in. Yeah. Yep. Oh, she's been in Girls Trip. She was in. Let's see, Concrete Cowboy. Anybody remember that one? With Idris Elba, and they were cowboys in the city. She's in that. She's done a lot of indie films, but she is a phenomenal actress that just never gets her due.
Worse in this movie. She's so good.
Oh my God, I loved it. I was there just for her. But then Gugu Mbatha Raw is also in it, and I think she is so beautiful, and I love her. I am so excited for her, and anything she's in, she's going to be good. And then we have Janaea Sydney, who, she was this is 2018, but she's also, she played Venus in King Richard. She plays the older Williams sister in the tennis movie. So that's her playing Venus. And then she's also in Fences. She plays Denzel and Olivia's daughter. So this little girl, I mean, she's been directed by Denzel Washington and Ridley Scott in, I think it was Paradise. She plays the young savant girl that has the powers that they're trying to hide and everything. So she held her own with Gugu and Lorraine.
Yes, she did.
She sure did.
Yeah.
The camera loves her too. Loves her face.
Stunning.
And she's growing up. It's like she's like another Keke Palmer, like, you saw her as a little kid, and now you're gonna watch her grow up in the movies, and she's turning into such a nice, beautiful young lady now. I mean, I just was so happy to see her in King Richard. She did such a great job as Venus Williams.
I had to Google her, and then once I saw her adult face, I was like, "Oh, that's who that is." You know what I mean? Yeah, very talented.
Yeah.
And Lorraine Toussaint, I think of her from Orange is the New Black.
Yes, that's the other one she was in. Yes, she's in Orange is the New
She's in
Black.
like the second season, and
wait. Who's in Orange is the New Black?
Lorraine Toussaint.
Bo.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. I was like, I was in my head. I'm like, yes, she was.
A million things. So she's just working all the time. And so I love the fact that these three actors are in this, and they give these great performances, and that, like I said, it's a superpower movie with women who are Black, who don't have anything to do with those other universes. And it's also a story. I'll tell you a little backstory about this. Julia Hart, who is the director and the co-writer of the film, wrote the film for a white woman. So when I read the script is colorblind. It does not say that these people are Black. So it's not a Black film, everyone. So go watch it. But once they saw Gugu Mbatha Raw in the film Beyond the Lights, which is my guilty pleasure. If you've not seen Beyond the Lights, oh my God, it's like about a fallen
it is a delicious movie.
Oh my, it is my Love Jones. Okay. I mean, Nate Parker is hot in this. Oh my God, she's beautiful. Anyway, when they saw her in that film, Julia Hart, the director, said, no one else can play Ruth. I want her to be Ruth, because she had that edge to her and that softness. And so she cast the whole family as Black.
Yeah.
And so I think that added a whole layer for me watching it. I did not know this the first time I saw this film, that the film had not been written for a black family, that it was just a white family. But it gives it another power that the generational trauma of these three women, and going back to the great grandmother, the whole family. So it's a film that I love the story of. So make it white women. Let's go back. Let's just make it women. Let's just take off the color altogether. And it's really telling the story of what happens when women are taught to hide their talents. And so it's a metaphor for that. And I love that part of the story where for generations these people hid their powers because they were so afraid of being experimented on and taken away and or murdered or whatever, and rather than figure out what they could do with the power and free themselves, they taught the next generation to hide and the next generation to hide till you get down to this generation saying, like, if it's broken, it's going to stay broken, because she's trying to teach her daughter, don't use your power ever, because you're never going to get it to come back together. And little Leela says, well, maybe we can put it back together. Like, she's just like, well, maybe we can put it back.
Why not try?
No. Yeah, she's like, no, don't even try. So I thought that theme of women hiding, don't be too smart. Boys won't like you. Don't be too loud. You'll be, all this. Don't do this. Don't do that. And turning it inside and not being of service to anybody. And even probably, like Ruth, making yourself sick. And so that's what I got out of it. And, that was my whole thing. I was like, oh, this is such a great story. And of course, using the cloak of sci-fi to tell this story about why women not only shouldn't hide their talents, because when you do expose your talents and come out and use them, it's not just to protect you or to take care of you. It's to save the world, okay?
Yeah.
When they came out with their powers, they were like, oh, we can save the world. I was like, yay, it's a happy ending.
Yes. Well, and what fascinated me is that they're also hiding from each other, because like Bo describes Lila's powers as parlor tricks, but then even she says it's like mine, it's parlor tricks, minimizing her granddaughters, and then she confesses to her boyfriend, the Ruth's dad, I'm not afraid of those men, or I'm not afraid I can't stop those men. I'm afraid I can. So it's like she even knows that she's more powerful than they're admitting to one another, which is fascinating.
Okay, here's my question, because I'm seeing this movie like for the 15th, not even, but the fourth time, let's say.
Sure.
And this time I said, did you get the sense that Dean didn't know Bonnie had those powers all that time? Okay.
Yes. That he had an inkling that she was different, and that's why. Okay, so I understand. I will say a lot of things. I understand that the script was written colorblind. Okay. However, I do not believe that this story would hit the same if it were a white family, because 1, small town America. 2, you look like, and then it's really the desert.
Yeah.
3, the fact that this is an interracial couple that we learn got together, right? They were sneaking together. So that's 2. 3, I don't believe he knew, because she was not allowed. She was told to keep it to herself. And I don't think she would have shared that part of herself, because there would have been a layer of, it's not just a boy, it's a white boy.
It's a white boy.
And her age tells me that when the time period that she grew up, that there was a store that had only candy, which means that we're talking 50s, 60s, segregation, da 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 da. So you're hiding yourself because A, you don't want to get lynched or murdered or whatever, and 2, can't trust white people. But there was something that she trusted in him, but not enough to tell him of her whole self. Except in that moment when, what did she have to do? Protect her child.
Right.
So and for me, that was the theme. Here's what I do. I watch things on the train. I made the mistake of watching the last 30 minutes whilst I ate my salad today. And then I have a rule: don't cry at work unless you're getting fired or you like break a leg. And I'm sitting at my desk chomping on my hummus crunch, and my eyes are welling up, because as when you have a kid, it's like something changes in you, whatever. But I was just like, that's right. I'm stepping into my power because my grandchild needs me. It's like, he's like, that's not our plan. She said, yeah, that's not your plan.
That's not your plan.
My plan is that's my baby. They're not like,
She
it
went
just
mama
all,
bear. She went so
I was like
hard
glasses
mama
off,
bear.
shoving tissues in my eyes, hoping that nobody walks into the office because I'm like weeping because I was like, that's the power of family, but that's also the power of a mother because that is how Ruth got her power, unblocking that moment that we kept seeing. I love that foreshadowing. Or
Oh my gosh,
is it
it was so
foreshadowing
good.
or
Yeah.
is it like
Yes.
The pipe
foreshadowing?
bursts and the
And you're like, what
We
the hell
kept
is that?
seeing the
wall
cracked
cracks.
wall. We're like,
Yeah, all of that. You're like,
what is going
interesting.
on?
That's why she didn't. I'm like, oh, that's why she's not staying in that place. She's not going there. And then you learn that no, that's not why.
All
But
a
it's like,
flashback.
thank you, flashback. It's the unlocking of the power of you stepping into your motherhood to protect someone else that
Right.
unlocks the power
Right.
that you have for
It
I'm
was
so happy that this is happening because I would have never seen this movie and I need to watch it again. Like, truly,
Yes, you
when would
get
this
more
ever?
layers on the second and third watch. That's what I love about some films, that you get more every time. It's like Star Trek. You get more when you're watching it. The second time, you're like, wait a minute, did he just say?
Focus
'Cause
on
you're just
somebody else.
you're just trying to get the plot. Like, what
Yeah.
happened? Just tell me what
Yeah.
happened in the first round. Because this time I realized, when Ruth comes back, like she's on the run, and I love the beginning of the film where they just like, it's just like dark sound, noise, car alarms going off. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? And she's running, and she's like, whoa, and she's got ropes on her wrist. I'm like, whoa, what are they doing?
You have like a solid 10-15 minutes where you just got to trust this movie that it's going to get together because you're like,
I'm
what?
What is happening?
What is happening? But the minute I saw my man Bill, I said, I don't trust him.
Ooh,
Immediately.
that's right.
Immediately. I said,
Yeah.
I'm alone here eating. That means don't talk to me.
Right. And she was like looking at him. I'm like, girl, don't do that. Don't even. She was trying to, be nice and like, nah, don't come over here.
Thanks for the
But
coffee.
yeah, but I love
Thank
the
you.
Single egg.
I see what, and I thought that was so cool because now we have this. It has been 8 years since Rain. And I love the way they just didn't even go through all this big explanation about why, how, what happened.
There just ain't no rain.
That is
There's
what
no rain.
the explaining in this movie I thought was so brilliant because obviously, we're all Trekkies. Like we're used to this world where something is wrong and you've got a data and a majority that launches into this whole explanation. And then someone is like in English data and they're like, it's like a cosmic catapult or you know what? Like
Right,
there's like
right.
this whole like the action of the story. We're used to this. The action of the story stops so someone can explain.
Right.
And there is no real explaining. They give us a little bit and we see things and we see them. We see that the $25 for the half a jug of water.
Half a jug of water.
Yeah.
And we see all of the desolation and it just kind of clicks. It kind of makes sense. We know where we are.
Yeah. And there's nothing like, I'm like, yeah, okay. So you would have chickens and so you could get an egg, but you're not getting any hash browns because there's no potatoes. There's no nothing, there's no toast. There's nothing else but the egg. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that would be the only thing. And that if you got some chickens still, so you can keep them alive.
Yep.
Oh,
and she
watching
only
them
afford
wash
one
a
though.
dish.
But that's the thing. It's the only thing she could afford.
Yeah.
Like it really showed. Like every time she pulled out that water, you're watching it disappear. Like, how much money does she have left? What can she get?
Right. And she like gave the woman in the hotel the change because she saw her. I mean, and that got me too because I said, all right, here she is. She's working a night shift. This woman, she's got a baby on the hip. She's just looking tired. She's humping like water jugs, and water is heavy. She's throwing water jugs up on the thing. She's like, hey, on a full jug. I mean, she's just like, this is a tough life. I just said, wow. I mean, they really, and it was such a tropey thing, like the hotel. Something's gonna go wrong. Here we are at the motel. Like, there's nothing good is gonna happen
I don't
here.
know. I trusted the motel for some reason.
Did you?
I'm like Will Smith in Men is Black. Like he's not snarling. He's crying. He has allergies. Like what? Why does the girl have an astrophysics book? She's 7. That's too intense for her. Like it was because I think it was because of the fact that when the sound happened behind the woman at the desk, it turned out to be a child, not like someone who was forcing her out to try to get her, like in like Book of Eli when what's his face was using what's her face to do the nefarious things.
Right.
It was like, oh no, it's just her kid that she told to stay quiet so she could handle this guest. And of course, kids, they don't stay quiet. So I was like, no, she's just a working mom. She's trying to figure it out.
Right.
So I did trust the hotel.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because I think in a lot of these movies, in these sort of like post-apocalyptic worlds that we're used to, that moment where she tries to order food and has no money, we're used to everyone being like, get out of here. Like we expect the darkest response from everybody in a dark post-apocalyptic world, but there's something more moving and sort of painful about this world where you get these moments where like the woman who owns the restaurant is like willing to help her out, and there's something like, it's like, ooh, I've been through these terrible things and I see something that you're going through that feels intuitively like my life, and I don't know you, but this one time I'm going to help you.
Right. You need some clothes. I mean, she's like, you need a place to sleep. So, and just like she gave that extra money to the woman in the hotel and made the call, when she felt the seizure come on, the thing she thought to do is to tell her to get under the table. Like, she's like, girl, I'm about to go off over here. I'm like,
and that was a shock.
What is happening?
What is happening? I said, wait, what do you mean? Okay, so her handshake. I was like, oh, so she's got like a palsy. Okay, cool. Like, not cool, but like, oh, she just got a little shake. And then I was like, no. She's full on like seismic. Like, this movie was so good. Okay,
I'm just realizing now that
move tectonic plates. I was like, damn.
I'm just realizing as you're talking about the people who were nice to her were all women.
Yep.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, we caught that, Mike.
Yeah. I bet.
Watch the men on the panel be like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought of that.
I went in, I'm really bad about not going into movies blind. I will like read the Wikipedia entry or whatever before I see it. And what I found online about this film is that it was just often described as a superhero film, like that is in the superhero genre.
Ugh.
So I went in with that set of glasses, and I think I kept expecting her to like
fly.
What happens at the end of the movie where she realizes her power and that she can save the world. Like, I kind of thought that would happen a half hour into the film, and then we would see her get a cool costume. And, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
and become like
exactly.
Storm from X-Men or something. But it didn't do that. So then it took me like a little bit to be like, okay, wait, I need to readjust my expectations of this film. It's saying something more than your typical superhero film.
Or saying something different even.
And I was a little confused about the timing. I got like very in my head about it because they say it hasn't rained for 8 years. I assumed then that this is the result of climate change. So this probably, maybe I'm putting my own prediction on it. But then like when they talk about the past, and even Bill says something about his grandmother, and it sounds like you just said, like it was during segregation. So it's not that far in the future. It's just a couple years in the future.
Right.
Yet they're all driving cars from the 70s. So like, I was confused. They have like rotary dial-up phones and the answering
machine,
typewriters.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, why would they?
It's kind of like in the past. It was yeah. Well, it definitely was. Town. Even the house looked the kitchen appliances, everything.
Correct.
Well, and it had been in their
mid-century
house for generations.
modern.
But also, you think of like if civilization starts to fall, something like an answering machine, right? Where as things the world starts to crumble, where do your messages come from? They come from voicemail. That is like a thing that is run by a company, that is run by like a cloud that is maintained by humans.
That's why you need to have a landline. So when everything fails,
if your landline is still up, you dig out an old answering machine.
Okay, no, Mike, I never thought of all of that.
No, you like rely on the analog.
You're going retro in the analog because everything else has failed, and all the computers in the cars are gone. So they gotta, little Layla, she's fixing the car. She's fixing stuff. She's fixing
it so she can leave.
But girlfriend was out of there.
But here's the thing, but also if you think about like Cuba, right? They were cut off after whatever war that they were cut off. So
Mm-hmm.
all of the cars in Cuba are literally from the 1950s and 60s, and they still run because they had to make them run. Like
Yeah.
now there may
Yeah.
be some modern car, but it's not like it is literally a time capsule of a period when they were completely shut off from the rest of the world and they had to be self-sufficient. So in my mind, even though it's 8 years since it didn't rain and it looks like a town, if you look at the exterior of the town, a lot of stuff is boarded up.
Yeah.
It's already small town, so there's not going to be like a thriving, bustling community. The fact that Bo says that Layla's not even been in a swimming pool. You were like the last person to swim because there wasn't that much water left in the lake. Like that, in my mind, that's how the time sort of line sort of works,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
there was still water, but eventually all that
Right.
water gets sucked up back into the atmosphere and never comes
It's
again.
gone. It's gone.
Well,
It's
the
just
implication
gone.
that they never quite say, but is that
Mhm.
the population has thinned, that
Oh,
people have
everybody's
died.
Tremendously.
gone or died. Yeah, they're out
Yeah,
of there.
it's like they couldn't hold on to like the
What
was it
work is
the
there? What's to do? Like they can't farm. They can't
what
do
was he before
anything.
he became a cop? He said
Yeah, the body shop.
he worked at
Oh,
the right. He had the
Yeah.
car shop, and then it was like there's nobody with a car to come fix it, so I
right.
became a cop.
Yeah. But
So
that got me when Dean said,
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no,
no,
no.
I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
He said, I became a cop and every missing woman was you.
Was you?
Every
Oh,
missing,
Every missing woman.
yes.
I was like,
Mm.
the loss of a child.
Oh, Dean was feeling it. And you make it sounds like, oh, he's just in there for whatever reason. I don't know. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, well, what is this white guy doing? Oh, where's he been? But he was protecting them the whole time.
Yeah.
He's front line. He's hearing like somebody's missing. Oh, maybe this is Ruth. He's trying to find out about her. Where did she go? I mean, I that ripped my heart out. Watching it the second time, the third time, like Dean was on it.
Yeah.
Using their old code to go back to
Yeah.
because like
That
nobody
was
left a
cute.
message, and I said, because I've watched enough like mystery things. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. And then her sitting there counting, I was like, oh, they are brilliant
Oh,
because you had when children before there were cell phones and you had call waiting. Someone, if you didn't want your parents to know who was calling, you'd say, call, let it ring twice,
but
and hang up,
hang up.
and I'll
And then
know
call
it's
back.
you.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
And then
exactly.
and then call back,
Call
and
back.
I'll know to pick up the phone immediately. So I was like, that's that. Like that's old school. Like pass me a note. Will you be my girlfriend? Yes or no,
It was
maybe
so
type of
sweet.
deal. It was very sweet.
And she was feeling it too. She goes, "What
She
made you use
was.
the old code?"
Oh, it was so
No.
nostalgic. Like, oh, we haven't done this since we were teens.
I know, it was so cute. I'm like, oh my God. So,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I have a question about when Ruth first sees the colors, right? So it feels like it's prompted by her sort of re-experiencing the trauma
Mm-hmm.
of that scene, right? So she's
The
in some kind of
flashback.
place. There's a flat where some kind of water main breaks. Her room is
Mm-hmm.
flooded,
Mm-hmm.
and Lila is essentially drowning in the flooded room,
Oh no, she drowned. Mm-hmm.
and she saved her,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that sort of reliving that and sort of making peace with that is what triggers her to then see the colors.
Yes.
But here's my question is, and it causes her powers to sort of return and come to full fruition.
Turn
Now,
outward instead of inward.
Mm-hmm.
right.
It went,
But my question is this, was that 8 years ago? Was that trauma, was her internal trauma? Did she, I mean, so I watched this movie twice. I watched it when we first talked about it, and then just like sort of yesterday and this morning. And watching it this morning, I was like, wait a second, did this trauma of hers cause the drought? Is that what that is? Or am I misunderstanding?
no, I don't think. No, I don't think that had anything to do with the drought. That because in the beginning of the movie they say, and men have been reckless. You know, they were like, it hasn't
Yes.
rained in 8 years, and men have been reckless with the world. So it was definitely
It was
regular
it was
old
something from the
Clemson.
outside world. It was
Yeah, it
world
was
forces that
definitely
we all
everybody.
know.
We knew this was
Yeah,
coming.
yeah, everybody. This had nothing to do with them causing the thing, but
But it was
um,
her healing moment in that
exactly.
moment
She
while she's
could
like
not
pumping
remember
gas.
what happened.
Right. She said, I lost her face.
She said she kept hearing, she kept seeing pieces of that
Pieces
moment.
of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But she didn't know, she couldn't bring back what happened, you know, so she was still struggling with that, and the drugs, she was just out of it. And it wasn't until she came back to the farm and she starts to calm down and meditate and be with her daughter and her mother and start to, I mean, when she started meditating, you remember the scene where she was sitting on the roof and the windmill started to go,
and the cloud
Yes.
behind her started to.
it was starting to come back, and then they called her and they distracted her, and everything stopped. But her powers were coming back while she was healing at the farm.
It's because
when she
I did
broke the
not catch
glass,
that.
she broke the glass, and then they
Yes.
were like,
Right.
"Who broke the glass?" She broke the glass.
She broke the glass. And what's interesting is, again, the connection between mother and child, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she said she, you know, she was strung out on the drugs, but she got clean when she gave birth. So
Right.
in that room with that baby, she is clean. She is not under the influence. So the trauma of getting clean, being clean, having a new baby in this, it seems like a disheveled sort of
Oh
apartment. It's
yeah,
not
she
like
was in this
it's
some dump.
it's not, yeah, it's not like she is in some immaculate space. She has this seizure. She thinks they're gone, but they're not. The water main breaks. She passes out because we notice it every time she has it. She sort of like passes out, or
Passes
like she
out.
loses consciousness.
Yeah, she wasn't drunk. She wasn't stoned. She
No,
wasn't.
she
Yeah,
was
she
just
passed out from the
unconscious.
seizure.
Correct. And then it's like, where is my baby? And you and
I was like, oh my God, where's the baby?
I said, we're not killing a baby today. Like, we're not doing that. Like, yes, I know that there's a child, but that doesn't mean that that's this child that she, right? Like all of that. Like, you never know. And so the fact that she didn't stop herself, or like her conscious mind didn't stop her from going all the way through to the end of that situation, is what unlocked that block, because she saw her child's face and was able to be like, okay, I did save her, which means that I can save myself, which means that I can save, possibly, like in a larger sense, I can save humanity. And I think that, as you said, going back home, returning home to the place that raised you, that was good to you, not necessarily like you don't go to a bad place, but she went to a loving place, even though she fought against Bo, even though they had their issues. She saw her child was being raised in that same environment, looking at her, having her have the bowl that she had. She didn't hide her away. This is the reminder every day they're sitting at a table, eating breakfast out of her daughter's bowl, who is gone, who left me with her child because she knew she couldn't take care of her. So I'm raising her, but also nurturing her. It was so good.
Well, and you know, the other thing that I realized is that every single one of these characters, of the main central characters in this movie, is in a state of internal conflict with themselves. Like, for instance, you look at Bo, and Bo wants Ruth to be there. She wants to nurture Ruth, but she also wants Ruth to go and leave so that Lila stays safe.
Yep.
And so there's this,
Yes.
right? And so they're all in this like tangled knot of like intrapersonal conflict within themselves about things, that conflicting desires that they have, and then conflicting desires between one another, that are all based in an intense, deep love for one another. It is so moving.
Yeah, it was a tough breakfast table.
Right? Oh yeah. Well, they're all broken people, and they keep saying what's broken stays broken. But then it doesn't, you know,
but then
like
it doesn't. Ruth proves that
right.
You can put it back together.
Oh, that was such a powerful moment, you know, because how many times have you heard that? You know, you can't, oh, you'll never be this, or you'll never be, you know, you can't, you know, once you fail, like, oh, you're done, you know, that's out, you're out. It was like, no, you get back up on your feet and you try it again. You can put it back together. You can make it work. And it was a very powerful message that I think got lost, because another thing, this movie came out I think it was a week before, a week after Black Panther.
Hmm.
So it got completely lost
That
in
was
the
unfortunate
noise of
timing.
Black Panther. Yes, I don't know
That's
why.
really unfortunate
Fascinating.
timing.
Yes, and the distribution of the film, which is another story. I'll talk a little bit more. I want to get back to what we were talking about. They only released it to 25 movie theaters.
Oh
That's
my
the prop.
gosh.
That's
No
oof.
advertising, 25 theaters. And then they sit there and they say, well, every time we make a movie with a black woman leading it, it doesn't make any money. It only made 75,000. And the director herself, Julia Hart, was at Sundance and did a panel. And she said, I'm just going to tell you, every time, we brought this movie to a distribution. So, you have the studio that's going to make the movie, and then you have your, the production company, and then you got the film, and it's got to get distributed. The distributors would see the film, and she said even if there were women or black people in that distribution company that loved this film and that wanted to do this film, eventually there was going to be a white male gatekeeper that said, I don't really get who this movie's for, and I don't know how to market it, and didn't accept the film. And that's why no one has seen Fast Color.
There's another really rare thing about this film. I think there's like this idea with sci-fi that it has to be like operatic, like a symphony, like a big sprawling story. Like we're all, I mean, Star Wars. I mean, come on. I mean, and even Star Trek that we love. But
And the Marvel films, like
Marvel films, that it's these multi-characters, the sort of like conclave of like super, the Avengers, all there's many leads, and like, but this is like there's not a lot of sci-fi that I encounter that gives you that sort of like chamber music feel. That
Oh,
is
yeah.
a small. This is a character base. This is not a story. It's not really about her superpowers so much as it about these humans. It is about these mother-daughter relationships, and that we don't often get that sort of intimate, small, microscopic kind of story with sci-fi. It's always got to be
Yeah.
huge, and
Right. It's
this is really
dystopian,
refreshing
it's
for
got sci-fi, it's got superpowers, it's got all this stuff in it, but then it has these three women trying to deal, what did she say? We're just trying, she said, no, we're not. She said, Ruth said it. We're not superheroes. We're just trying to get by.
Correct.
And
I
well, you said
love that line.
generational trauma too. Like I mean, it's so important in this movie, but it wasn't. I hadn't put that word to it. That I think we all have this sort of. None of us are as aware as we should be of how like our own identity is affected by our grandparents and our great grandparents and things about their lives that we don't even know. And so to watch these characters discover those things is super interesting, but it's like heartbreaking to watch,
Yeah. It's like when you watch, any of those, you trace the ancestry shows, and whoever the person is that's getting the story, they'll say like, my grandparents never talked about this. They never talked about this. Why would you talk about your trauma? You're not going to tell your child all these horrible things that happened to you in Ireland or in Russia or whatever, or why you got on the boat, why you left everybody behind and got on the boat to come to America, So yeah, we don't get the stories. And here you have it. I mean, they luckily in this film
had
that book.
I was like,
Yeah.
yes. I said yes, and it was beautiful, and you just felt the pages. And I know they're not witches, but it reminded me of the Charmed book, where it's like, where it's leather bound, and everyone has put an entry in, and then there were pictures, and it was beautiful. And her being like, well, who's that about? And her giving her the book, and her seeing and reading, and not.
And I don't think
Bo
she ever
being
read the
open
book
to share.
before,
That's
right?
what I'm saying. Bo being open to share that.
Yeah.
Because at the end, they're all being protected. Like, she's out. There's nobody for miles around. She said, who's still here? Oh, that family's gone. So there's nobody for miles. Because the question is, who's going to know when I have this seizure?
Right.
And the earth starts to shake. Who's coming knocking? She's like, oh, there's no one. It's just us now.
Yeah, they're just hiding out there. And yeah, that's right, because she said, but Ruth said, why haven't I ever seen this? And she said, oh, you weren't into history back in the day. You weren't into.
Correct.
Yeah. So she never showed her the book. I mean, there was just so much in this movie that like a line or a gesture or
Mhm.
even when they were, like you said earlier, when they were washing the dishes, they were just taking a damp rag and
Yeah.
Yes,
Ooh,
damp.
and what were they
ooh.
eating? Like Cocoa Puffs. I mean, it was like Cocoa Puffs.
Dry cereal.
Dry
Dry
Yeah.
cereal.
Dry
cereal.
cereal.
Everybody got a little bit of water or
Oh.
some other type of liquid in a different cup, but it
Mm-hmm.
like the metal ones were water, but then it was like Bo and Ruth had maybe coffee of some
Something
sort
else. Yeah.
in those mugs. What I also thought was interesting when we talk about history is how Ruth got on the bed with her daughter and was like, "Oh, here are some albums. Like, look
Oh,
what
I
I
love.
found. Can I come in?" It's like, let me give you my history of music. This band, amazing. You always
Music.
gonna listen. Like
Put
it
a pin in
was.
that. I want to talk music soon.
That was so cool. I love that
No matter who
scene.
you are, Nina, you are a
Right.
fan. I'm
Nina
like, and
Simone.
I was like, absolutely. What is wrong? Like, and I'm like, on my phone, I was like, yep, I have that album too. Okay, good.
I didn't realize until I watched it the second time. There's two scenes
Mm-hmm.
where Ruth plays a song and later Bo plays a song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ruth plays a song on the jukebox,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then Bo plays a song on the newly repaired
The
record
record
player.
player.
Record player. Correct.
Yes, where I didn't realize until the second time, I was like, I am watching a person who has not listened to their favorite song in years. She
Years.
put on that Nina song and was like, I didn't register the first time that the way that it did the second time that, oh, she hasn't been able to put on this album in years.
Because it
And the
was
sensation of
broken.
that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was great. I mean,
I
I just
loved it.
love the music in this, and she's like, now this is Lauryn Hill. I was like, go on, girl.
Yes.
She was
Get your
pregnant at
daughter.
22. Everybody thought it was. I was like, exactly. They also, and the most important song on this album is the one about her. This is what I'm saying. Family, motherhood. Like it hit
Passing
me in a
down the
different.
information. It did. It
Oh,
did.
it hit me
Because
in a different place.
I remember having a scene like that with my dad because he was the one, and you couldn't touch the record player. We had a hi-fi, and a
Ooh.
hi-fi. It's like, okay, whatever, Dad. And I remember him telling me about Louis Armstrong. That was his boy, and putting on the Louis Armstrong like a platter, man, and playing this music, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then the other one, I'll never forget. It was South Pacific. My father loved show tune. And I was like, Valley High. What are you teaching me? What are you teaching me?
The
But
ways of the world.
hey,
He was teaching you right.
still love South Pacific because my dad gave me this album. It's like, what? But that scene hit me so hard when I watched it. I was like, that is so for true. That is so for true. I mean, white girl wrote it. Yep. I don't know what album she was telling her daughter about, like the cow sills, whatever. I was like, yes, hair.
It was great.
Okay. Yes.
It was
You
great.
know this.
Oh, so good.
It was also really smart how they sort of gradually revealed the nature of the powers. And
Mm,
when we see Bo smoking the cigarette and she takes the
yes.
cigarette apart and puts it back, and then she
Mm.
refers to it as parlor tricks, in your head you're kind of like, because it makes me think about, I mean, this is a stupid thing to think about, where there's like the like I think it was a Halloween Family Guy where they all get superpowers, and Meg's power is she grows long nails really quick, where you're
Yes.
like,
She's like, I'm a
like,
cat.
or we just saw the Greek god on Lower Decks where she can make a lightning bolt, whatever.
Right.
Right.
Right. So I was watching that. I was like, oh, that's a cool. And she called it a parlor trick. And I was like, oh, this is like a cool thing, but is it useful? Like, what does it
Mm,
do? Right. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't
mm.
really, it's just like she said, a parlor trick. And then the scene in the hardware store where she
Mm.
takes apart the tools and puts them in her pocket and then puts them back together when she gets home. And I was like, oh, it
Oh,
is a useful power.
Mhm.
Right.
to
And then when
steal.
she's, yeah, well, sure. But then she's in the jail cell and you're like,
Oh my God.
oh, it's
Yeah.
a very useful, like just little by
Right,
little, they
right.
give you enough
Yeah.
My
to be like,
girl took
oh,
Making
those
the guns
Handcuffs
handcuffs.
off.
disappear. Yeah.
But the thing is, she tried to take down the door, and I love what I loved most, and not most, but on the long list of the things I love most. Her being in the jail cell, we see the extent of her power, right? I can take off handcuffs, I can steal tools, I can do little things, we'll say. she tries to go for that door, and you think, ooh, a door? Okay, little mama, go for it. And it starts to, and it's like, no, you don't have that strength yet. And I'm thinking, okay, someone's gonna have to come let her out. Nope, Grandma Bo said, I got you.
I got this.
Once the guns got disintegrated,
I was
I
like,
said,
okay.
I said,
Yes.
because she said, I'm afraid that I, like, in my head when she was saying, I'm not afraid that I can't stop them, I'm afraid that I can. I was like, oh, she's about to disintegrate these people,
She
like
gonna
take
go
them apart. I
Mm.
was like,
right.
they are going to become pink dust, but she like has control over her power. So the guns all go, and I'm like, okay, cool, guns, nobody's getting shot. And then when her door goes down, I said, oh, she's got power. She didn't even have to see the thing. She just knows that there's a door somewhere. I feel like she took all the doors down. And then she did the front door, and she stepped out and said, come on, baby, come
Come
over to
on, baby.
grandma.
Grandma gonna get you out of prison. I was
Don't you?
like, what is happening? Because the scene before that, when Bonnie comes running back to the farm,
Yes.
and Dean, she comes running to Dean,
Means, yes.
and Ruth is there, and Bonnie is out of her
Her
mind.
mind.
She's
They
like,
will
they
not let
took
me see
the
her. Yep.
baby, they got the baby, and I'm like, oh my God, they got the baby, because they only took the ones that exhibited the power. That's why they
Correct.
didn't take Bonnie. Bonnie didn't show any
Correct.
power. They took the baby because they were like, oh, we're looking for Ruth. But, oh, do you mean to tell me her daughter got some stuff too? So
Then we'll
forget
take
about
her.
Ruth. We don't need her no more. We're taking the baby. And
Oh.
Right.
had the baby in a cell in handcuffs, and she's like a child. I was
A
like,
child.
but
And then it hits all the other points of like children in handcuffs being unfairly detained.
oh my God.
All of the
Oh
things. All of
my
the
God.
things.
It was
All of
like
the things.
hitting. But the thing was, when Ruth went to the house was turned over. And I said,
Trashed.
Lila did that. It wasn't the guys that looking for what are they looking for? She's right there. Lila tried to take them out. I said, Lila, she was like doing whatever. I said, Lila
Oh,
destroyed the house.
interesting.
That's what I said the second time. I said, Lila destroyed that house fighting these guys. And like you said, her powers weren't to the fullest yet, and they got her. And Bonnie still didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I love about that climax scene, though, which I only realized on the second time, is that it felt very like high noon Western climax.
Yes, it
Right?
was.
And I don't
There was
It
like
was a
they
standoff.
were
cowboy
like
face off.
outside, right? Outside the,
But
the
that's when look at
sheriff's
their town.
office, like
They're
in
outside. Oh,
You
it was
got
great.
it, David. Yes, you nailed it there. It was like dun 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 dun. They were walking down there. Okay, here we go. All right.
Here we go. It's going down.
It's going down.
It's going down. And honestly, I didn't know if it was going to be because we know she can disintegrate things and put them back together. I didn't know if it was going to be a la the Matrix, bang, 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 and
Yeah.
then she disintegrates them all, a la, Neo, stopping them, turning them, they all fall to the ground. The fact that she just took everybody's gun. She said, nobody gets a gun. Cops, man, Bill and your friends, everybody, no one gets anything. Now it's me. And now you're gonna have to deal with me because you messed with my baby, and then you messed with my baby's baby, and now I need her to come on back out.
And she was like, "Come
and
on, baby."
she gives herself to them. She goes with them. I mean,
She
that
said,
part is like
because that is what you do. Because that I would do that.
So
right
would any
now.
mother. So right, yes.
Not any.
Well,
I will. I no, and I
yes.
don't. And because I don't want a blanket statement of like, because not every woman who has a child not every person who has a child feels that they would give their life for that child for whatever reason. Some people never connect. Some people don't. They made this, they regret the decision of having. The trauma of their life won't allow them to connect, whatever it is. But for a person who does feel that way, I would go upstairs today if someone was like, oh no, the dictator is coming because the skills that he exhibits in his drawing is such that no, you won't. You're going to take me and I'm going to exhibit those skills because I am a person who's like, oh, my heart didn't grow. I wasn't the Grinch and I loved him. No, I became a bear. I will murder anyone who
Yeah.
That Bo, I was like, oh yeah, it's on. It's on. And nothing's gonna stop me from getting my kid and my grandkid.
And I think she knew that the only way she could diffuse the situation
Correct.
was to give them something to let the other two go.
That's more powerful.
Yeah.
You want to know how it all works? You want to study? Guess what? I'll teach you because I've been on this earth. Like, how old do we think Bo is? 60s?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
50s?
50s.
Because
She said she's been seeing the colors for 52 years.
Oh, that's right.
So,
yeah.
so for 52 years, so we have to add a couple because. So we'll say she's 57. Say maybe at 5 she started, 4 or 5 started like.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like when one would come into their powers or to realize, to be able to verbalize that is what is happening.
Right.
Because it seems like it's something you're born with. It's passed down.
Mm-hmm.
But as a baby, you're not necessarily going to be able to say, oh, I see colors. You don't have the language yet. So I'm thinking 4 or 5. So Ruth is like 57, Bo is like 57, which means Ruth is in her in early 30s. Because I feel like she was a teenager when she got pregnant, or like.
She said she had the baby when she was 22. I thought she said.
Lauryn Hill had a baby when she was 22.
Oh no, okay, right.
I know that's
she had the baby like she was very young. She was like
young. Like so she's like a teenager, like,
and
18,
she's like 12 now, so she's probably like early 30s.
But so early 30s, so then Bo had her again when she was possibly younger than we'll say like normal age.
That walk from the candy store did it. No.
It did. It said, "Oh, how are you?" I just love that little romance.
It was the meeting at the stadium. Did
the meeting at the stadium? Yeah,
oh,
and then
baby,
you came home. Exactly. But it's like watching them come into, watching her say, you want to know something? I know it. I'll teach you. You think that you should be afraid of it or like it has to be poked and prodded. Because Bill said, I've been at a computer or I've been in a lab. Like crunching numbers, like he's never been in the field before. So she understands. Not that she heard that, but she gets it. You're pencil pushers. Okay. Let me show you how this is done and how we can fix something, because apparently you think that chaining someone up is going to help you.
Yeah. And I think she also realized now that she could go with them and protect herself.
Yeah.
She was like, all right, yeah, let's go. She was really like unconcerned. Like, because try something.
Try. I've already showed you what I can do on a small scale.
And I don't think she had that. She didn't have that strength.
Fearlessness? No.
Right.
That was my question. Are we to believe that she's really coming into the peak of her power because
she's
of
finally getting it. She's finally getting
Bo or
it.
Ruth?
Bo.
Either. Well, I'm talking about Bo, but yes.
Bo, yes. I think that the catalyst was the rain. I think that the fact that
I was going to ask if the catalyst was the threat to the family.
I think it could be a poo-poo platter of things, but I also think that the rain, the fact that Ruth did that, like she
cracked open the sky.
Cracked open the sky.
Ooh,
and
baby.
she said, "Look at my child." Like, ooh, my child did that. Let me put 10 toes down into the power that I have that was passed to me. That even though they had to hide, I really think that Bo was so powerful. Like it truly, like I know that they're not witch, but it just, then I go to like practical magic and it's like, okay, Sandra Bullock and
I think Bo
Nicole Kidman.
She didn't know what they were able to do until I didn't piece that together. Thank you. Until the rain. When she saw that rain, it was like, oh, okay, I don't even know why we're still hiding on this farm.
Well, but she knew about Simona. Bo knew about Simona, the woman in who we learn at the very end is in Rome.
In Rome.
Yes.
Oh, and I love
break
that.
the sky or fix. What is the word the phrase that
crack
she used?
the sky open.
Crack the sky open.
Yeah, yeah.
So she knew that this power is a thing,
but she did not.
But she didn't know that Ruth had it.
Correct, because I think that even though generationally it's passed down, it manifests differently in each person.
Yeah, and I think Ruth had the most power.
Most powerful.
Right.
Yes, that
Ruth was the most powerful.
Correct. Correct. Like hers is like elemental, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I control the winds because that was a cloud forming. That was like
Oh
wind
yeah, she
coming.
was bringing
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like,
She was
I was like,
just Storm.
shit.
You know.
she
Right.
she
She was
and that's what
Storm.
she was Storm, but creating it out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's so good. That's all I keep saying.
Okay, my job is done here with you all.
Well, and it's the other thing that I wanted to mention too is that I was this morning before work I was doing a little, like a partial rewatch, right? And my boyfriend is in the next room getting ready for work, and he was like, he could only hear the movie, right? So he was hearing random scenes, but he was like, this music is so good. I think I like this vibe of this movie just from the music, because the music is like desolate, but like anxious and kind of driving, and that every time that when she sees the colors, there's like a theme that has been like planted in your ear like 5 times already that like comes into fruition with the colors, and it is really just beautifully done. I love the soundtrack.
Yes, I think the soundtrack definitely needs a minute to be talked about because it was stupendous, and the cinematography was wonderful.
I would say, did you? Because her running,
beautiful.
Number one, when the hand tremor started at the gas station, and she went for the run before like she cracked open the sky, and then you saw what it was to see the color, like how it manifested itself, and watching her run, it was like she was in warp speed. It was so cool to see the zing. I'm like, how is she seeing the road? Because I can't see the road. I hope she doesn't hit somebody or a deer or a coyote.
There's nobody to hit out there, but just a straight road.
I was like, where's she going? Can't she see? But I thought like that swell to get it's so good.
I loved that her great grandmother, I think, had tried to draw the colors in the book. There's that one page where it's like this is what I'm looking. This is what I see, and then when we see it, it's like, oh, that is it.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think it's interesting that we never trust Bill, right? From the beginning.
Never trust
and I was thinking, right, sure. I was thinking about it from like a Star Trek perspective.
Cool.
What do the people who are trying to get Ruth want? Like, is it malicious? Are they going to dissect her? Like, or like if like when she escapes from him in the like
the
70s station wagon,
she shoots him in the hand.
She shoots him in the hand.
Ow. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
ow.
If he had pulled out a comm badge and said like medical emergency, beam me up, I couldn't get her, suddenly I would be on his side. Suddenly I would be like, oh, well, they're just trying to help the world and they think that she can do it.
Right, because they know that if she has the power to like cause an earthquake where there are no like tectonic plates connecting,
right,
that
and they're like, the world is dying, she could help us.
Yeah,
but
no, he said, she could probably show them a new source of energy.
Yeah,
that's what they were looking for. So yeah, I mean, they had a reason and a good reason, but here we go with black people being experimented on. I was right there, like, oh no.
Exactly, and
it takes me back at the Strange New World episode where they the planet that lives in peace and harmony, but at the expense of a child who lives in eternal suffering. Right, where you're like, what? Maybe they'll save the world, but what will they do to these humans?
Yeah.
I thought of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the fact that the other. I can't remember the other group that was terrible, the Serpenty people. Like they wanted to take Hydra.
Oh, right.
That Hydra wanted to come and like combat and like put them on ice and do the thing. Like that is what I thought. There was never a moment ever where Bill was going to say, "Hey Ruth, come with me. I can help you unlock your powers and we can save the world." No, they were going to strap her up, put some electrodes on her, shock her to the point where she where she did the thing, they figured out the megahertz, da da da.
Yeah.
No, it was all bad. It was all
Yeah.
bad, and he deserved to get shot in the hand. I'm surprised
Yeah.
she didn't shoot him in the arm. I was like,
he
shoot
pulled
him
out a
again.
needle. He,
Yeah, Bill is that that's that sci-fi trope of the scientist that wants to, learn and save
Learn and know.
and the military that comes in and like, no, we need to make a weapon out of this. You see it in who saw that other Midnight Special? There's another. Have you seen that one? Oh, okay. Write this down.
Oh my God,
Write
we
it
need a
down.
list from you, Sabrina.
Truly,
this
Special.
this same trope happens in E.T.
Callback. Mike Jones with a callback.
A callback to before we started recording.
Ooh,
My God,
that was below the belt, Mike.
nothing is ever below the belt. That was good. I
know
love
how
that.
I
seems
feel
so
about
nice.
that movie. I don't know. That's hilarious.
Okay, Midnight Special. That's written down.
Midnight Special. Yeah, the young
Absolutely.
boy has powers, and the father has to put goggles on the kid's eyes because he's got these like X-ray eyes, and the dad
Also,
is
like
just
Cyclops.
Everything goes back
trying
to
to
X-Men.
I'm telling you.
No,
I'm telling
well,
you.
I mean, but
Midnight
here's
Special.
at the end of the day, like we all say, like there's really not an original thought on the planet. Like like everything is a derivative of a derivative, but you can take all of the things and make a new thing based on all of the information. So this, like, yes, there are tropes. Yes, right. But
No
it's
water, bad
like, okay,
scientists, military.
no water, Book of Eli, bad scientist, Agents of Shield,
Everything.
Everything, right.
everything.
On the run,
I can
X-Men.
X-Men. Exactly. I control the
But every
environment.
single one of these movies that you're talking about is what I was saying before, is an opera and not chamber music. Is not
Correct.
this kind of character-based small family story.
Small family story, and they're realized. Like, even you know how we talk about like they stop to like in Star Trek, you'll stop to explain something. There wasn't any of that. It was in the dialogue. You got everything you needed to know. There wasn't any. I don't feel like they wasted words. No one said we need 20 more pages. Like this was tight. I didn't really miss anything. I would have loved to know ages just because I like to know ages of people.
We don't know the
like
year.
in the world.
We don't know what state it's in.
No.
We don't know.
That's why I just said, how old do we think she is? Like, I'm just in my head. I'd love to know that.
You just know it's Garrison.
Just know it's Garrison. I know
I feel like there's a Garrison in literally every state in this country.
Yeah,
there
I have
is,
no
there
idea.
is.
Everything is desolate now. It didn't matter. It could have been beautiful Indiana. It would have, but at this point, it's all dust.
It's all dust. It was a new way to. I really like the chamber music. That is exactly how this is. Each instrument is at the height of its everybody's a first chair, and there's only 5 instruments.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Everybody's a first chair. Yeah, and I just really appreciated and why I picked it, because when I do CinnCine Goes SyFy, I'm picking films that they're classics, and we kind of go behind the scenes and talk about it. And so Blade Runner, all these big movies, Aliens, But that's why I wanted to do this smaller film. Like I wouldn't do this on my show, only because I got to think when I'm doing the show, either the guest is going to attract viewers or the show is going to attract viewers. So, people don't know this movie. So when you said, give me a movie, I was like, oh, Fast Colors.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
So
that
happy
you
you liked it this much and that we have this much to talk about it, because some people have seen it and they're like, I ain't get it.
And okay, what were the demographics of those people?
Yeah,
Okay, so
it wasn't sisters. It wasn't women. Women, I think, get this, and that's the thing about this movie that I love. This is really a movie that women are gonna get and just like feel like, ow, like right from the minute she's in there talking to that woman with the baby on her hip. And they're both looking at each other like, well, you've had a day, and so have you, sis.
Here, keep the change.
Yeah,
like I know that I don't have it to give,
water,
but you need it more than me.
More than I do today, right? It's like, okay, and on and on.
Woman in the bar, literally saying, "Hey, I don't have any money, but I will. What can I do?" And like a real way. And then she's clean. I know, like in my head, I'm like, where we see her at the end of washing the glasses, I know that she's washed every glass, every plate. She has swept, she has mopped, she has put the chairs on the table. And now she said, oh, I've got a few more glasses. Oh, there's a jukebox. Let me play some music. Like, I know that she has worked her ass off for whatever burger and fry that she got to
She's
eat.
gonna
It
get
was, you know what I mean? And that's why Home Bay
or
Behind the Bar was like,
egg and cocoa
egg.
puff that she's gonna get.
Ooh,
But
yeah.
you also get the feeling like she can't be the first person who's gone in there and asked for food without money. And that you're like,
Mhm.
how does this, and that even if it's a world where like they can't always help people, that
Mhm.
sometimes that your heart, that somehow your kind of heart just goes out to someone.
Yeah. You know when somebody's in trouble.
Because
Yeah.
She
you
knew
can
she was in
tell.
trouble.
There
Not
you
like
know
I'm
when you
passing through.
right. You know when you meet someone and you're like something about like not that like your I know this sounds so woo woo, but like your soul can hear, like your spirit can
Oh
hear
yeah.
the goodness of the other person.
Yeah.
Like
Ooh.
I feel like the dictator has always had a very good sense from being a baby to know who is genuinely good, not nice, because being nice, you can, I'm talking about being kind and being
Yeah.
genuine,
Yeah.
right? Like that's why I like cats over dogs, because cats are discerning. People think they're
Mhm.
sneaky, but they're not. They know your bullshit. They said,
Not
you're not,
you. Not
not
you.
you. No. So I feel like in this sense, in this world where everything is so hard and so rough, her spirit heard the words out of her mouth, but also saw inside of her and said, this is true. She is
Yeah.
honest. And I need to help her in some way.
Yeah. The
Which also
bandaged wrists.
makes the world, this world, more tragic because it is a world that does have empathy. It's not cold.
Yeah.
Not everyone is hardened, you know?
And even the guy in the convenience store, like the
Yeah.
kid who, like, he was just doing his job. He was like, sure, like he didn't treat her any type of way. He didn't
Right.
go out of his way to go above and beyond. But
Yeah.
I don't think that she encountered anybody but Bill.
Right. Yeah, like
Who
here she comes. She's got no car. She came walking in to that
walking
convenience store from
from
where?
where?
Yeah.
And he's like
Yeah.
not dropping a dime and saying like, hey,
Hey,
this strange woman is over here. He didn't say nothing. He was like, whatever. Because he said, am I in trouble?
Am
What
I
he
in
said something,
trouble? Yeah.
am I in trouble?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to do anything over here. I'm just like making change. I'm not doing a thing.
Again, trying to help Bill when he's like, you okay? Like his hand is bleeding. Like just he's like doing
Oh
his
yeah,
job.
Bill comes in there
Mm.
dripping blood,
Bleeding. Bleeding all over. Yeah, deserved to bleed. Try
mad
to
as
stab
anything.
her.
That is a bleeding man who walks in, you're like,
He
I don't
said,
Mm.
feel good about this.
and he just, my boy just gives it whatever, and like doesn't call anybody, doesn't come like, is anybody seeing this but me?
Not my
He's like,
monkey, not my circus. He said,
right.
Mm.
I'm not even getting paid to be here. So what I'm
Right.
going to do
I'm doing. This is not
Right.
a McDonald's moment in Altoona. I ain't
Oh.
calling anybody.
No. Mm-mm. No. Yeah. Then the sheriff shows up and he's like, "Did I do something wrong?" Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah,
No.
this thing happened today. These two people were here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but
And Bill was a ding dong because I was like, he's like, the guy goes, "You left the car there?" He's like, "What am I-"
yeah.
I'm supposed to drive a crime scene into town. But he did have a point. I will say he could have hidden it somewhere.
I don't know
But
what.
where
Yeah, what could he have done with it?
But
He
where do
had
you
to go.
hide? It's
He
like
couldn't
just
drive it.
desolate, wide open
Yeah,
nothingness.
there's
Right.
not
No one else is driving down that road. It seems
No,
fine.
no
I'm
one.
gonna leave it here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I think the only thing I would have liked another confrontation between Bill and Ruth at some point in the middle, or something else
Mm.
between the, of her getting away. Because it was like once that scene happened and she got away from Bill, you didn't see him again until like the end of the movie. Like you saw him
Yeah.
with
No,
the
but
other guys, but they
yeah.
didn't find them again. So it was really like beginning and then the end. But I don't know.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing, in the hardware store, that is
Oh,
who she
that's
ran into when
yeah,
she
that's
was
right.
Yeah.
leaving. So there was another conflict because when she hit that dude in the wall, because they're in the store, there, I feel like the bag that she left had a little bit of information about like who she was, where she's from, like all of that, right? So they end up going and talking to different people, talking to the kid at the convenience store. Well, where would people buy things? Oh, the hardware store here. So they're luckily in the store when Bo and the baby
For
come
the
in.
first time. For the first time they leave the daggone farm.
Ain't that how it goes?
Ooh.
It was the first time. It happens every time.
And she
And
walks
so
smack dab into
smack
the
into him.
Right.
And it's sort of like, because the sort of foreshadowing of the little baby bear, it's like, oh, she must, like, no one carries this, so she has to have a child. Like, it's a child's toy. So for her to run smack dab into them, for me, was like, there's the little bit of the touch point of conflict between
Okay. Yeah.
Ruth
There
and
was that
them.
Yeah.
that one
But
in the middle.
it wasn't necessarily with Ruth, but it was with
Yeah, they were a little slow on the uptake. It's like, all right, there's about
Yeah.
3 black people in this town. You know, follow them. They might know the other black
follow.
person, but okay, maybe it's just me.
For me, it was like the long game, right? Because in
Yeah.
my head, I'm like, okay, because we really don't know how many days. It's like I feel like it happened like within a week, but it has to be longer than a week because whatever.
No,
But from the
I
time,
don't think so. I don't think I think
Why?
you're right. I think it
it's
was
like
only
it's
like a
like
few days.
a few days,
Mhm.
right? So
Well,
not
I think she
necessarily.
said I think she
Go
said a
ahead.
couple of weeks because the powers were coming back slowly. So it might have been more than a
Mm.
week.
So it's like from the time they ran into them in the hardware store to the time that they came to the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have to do a little bit more because maybe that's her, but I don't really know because I don't know how many black people are in this town.
Right.
Mm.
Right. They didn't assume anything.
They didn't assume anything. So then it's like you talk to the person counter. So who is that? Oh, we have friends out on the farm because small town people talk.
Yeah,
There's
or
no
maybe they
like,
didn't because they were like, I don't know
oh,
who
maybe
these
they
men.
didn't. People.
I don't
Oh,
know
Mm-mm.
good
who
point.
these men are,
Good point.
Right.
and they're after one of ours.
Mm,
So they may not have given them up. They may have been like, I don't know who that child is.
yeah, good point.
You know,
Yeah, you do have a point.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm,
they may have said like, we've been feeling these earthquakes for years, so don't.
mm.
That just happens around here.
Right.
I don't know what they did, but I got the feeling that, they didn't tell them.
Yeah, they just
Like,
sort of had to suss it
yeah,
out and figure
who
it out.
who are these guys? This man bleeding over here with the one with the blown off hand, and you're coming over here and you're looking for somebody in our town. I would be like,
Well, yeah.
I know nothing.
Right.
Yeah, so good.
So it
Oh my
was
gosh.
it was just
Well-
a lot of stuff in this film that we could fill in because they
I
didn't
know.
explain
I
it to us.
know. We could keep going.
I have not had this great a conversation with anyone about Fast Color in
Oh,
a
good.
while. In a
Oh, good.
while.
Love it.
Yay, it was great.
Well, thank you again for bringing it to us and for coming on and joining us. I think we should we've taken up enough of your time. Oh my gosh, it's 9:00.
Like,
We
what-
do have right. We have our rapid fire moments.
Come
I
on,
know,
listen,
okay.
we have to come on, Mike. Listen, we have to. We have to
You're right,
because
you're right.
We have
Okay,
to. There's
okay.
there's some questions we may subject you to. Nothing that's not fun.
All right.
yeah,
Right.
and then the other thing is like when you come back and we're not talking about a movie like we can pick a Star Trek because you love the movies. We can pick a Star Trek movie that I haven't seen because
Oh yes,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
an important
this is it.
revelation. Is that
This-
Lenita has never seen Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home, the one with the whales.
and here's the thing, don't tell me anything about it. I am a
On my
complete
wall.
yeah, see, whale.
Well, the
I'm,
other
I'm,
screen.
The real one.
I'm a completionist. Like the Mike Jones and Dave Mazan came into the Star Trek world in their formative years, younger. I, in a more adultish fashion, over 20. But like I said, I'm gonna watch it all. So I started with TOS.
I think
and
you
watched-
probably watched more hours cumulative than I have on account of
and that's fine because I know because of
Yeah.
Enterprise. But I have
not
watched
really.
all of it, animated series, every last episode, and then I said, okay, time for the movies, and I got up to 3, and then I took a pause for a second because not for any reason, just because life, and then we just recently watched
Generations.
Generations,
Mhm.
loved. So I need to go back and watch 4, 5, 6, and then continue on. Mind you, I did see the Kelvin Universe one,
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek when the reboot came,
Okay.
right? So you can pick 4, 5, 6, or some other
Oh, I
one.
love Undiscovered Country and Search for
Which-
Spock.
Mm.
Well,
What
you're a
numbers are
TOS
those?
Trekkie. That's your. Is that your? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a TOS Trekkie for sure.
What number are those? That's
I
what?
think Undiscovered the Search for Spock is number 3, I believe.
Yeah, well, I saw that
Mhm.
one.
Through
Okay, and
6.
then
And then
and then
6.
6 is Undiscovered Country, the last
So-
one.
So here's what I will say. is that if you would grant us more of your time, I would love for you to join us when we watch 6. Well, when I watch
Yes.
6, they rewatch 6 because I'll be watching it for the first
6
time.
is deep.
Oh, it's been a while. It's
Yeah,
been a while.
it's one of my
It's a good one.
favorites.
So it'll
Yeah,
be my
yeah.
virgin voyage into
Undiscovered country.
6. And I would love for you to come back
I
and
would
chat with us.
definitely do
Please.
that. Definitely. Yeah. And the Search for Spock is where I got my whole thing about why I don't trust Vulcans. I mean, I'm just like done with Vulcans. This is a running joke on the Sci-Fi Sisters. Sabrina and I'm like, these Vulcans, man, can't trust them, can't kill them. God, dog. Vulcans.
Just throw their Katra in somebody and go on.
Ooh, this is when it started. It was the Search for Spock, and Sarek came at Kirk, and I was like, I am so done with Vulcans.
Oh my God, I love it. All
I
right.
got it.
Anyway,
Hot
So
take.
James, I'll
Okay.
mark it down. Okay,
All
hot
right.
take. Go
All
ahead.
right. If you could have dinner with 3 Star Trek characters, not the actors, but the characters, who would they be?
If I could have dinner with 3, it would be, of course, Captain Burnham, number one.
Obvious.
And then I would like a little intimate dinner with Captain Kirk. I would not even gonna say. I am not even gonna say no. I would be like in some, crazy costume, and it would be me and the captain. And then third would be okay. So, Sonequa and I would say Guinan.
Oh, yeah.
Strong choices.
Yeah, I would love to sit down and talk about everybody with Guinan.
She's a good listener.
Girl. Like, you've been on this ship with these crazy mugs. She's like, oh my God.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be it. But I would definitely be with me and Jimbo would definitely be hanging
At the captain's table.
Oh yeah, I fell so in love with him when I was a kid. I mean, that was like had pictures of him on the wall. I mean, I couldn't. And finally met William Shatner and almost lost my mind. So
I bet. If you were living in the 23rd century, what would your life be like? Would you be in Starfleet? Would you stay on Earth?
Oh, I would so not be in Starfleet. I would have been washed out for sure. I would be a space pirate or something. I would be like,
yes.
I would have my own ship and just be like, running cargo to illegal places.
This is the first time we've had a marauder on.
Marauder, yeah.
Are we talking like a
like Cassidy
like
Yates,
an Orion or like a Cassidy Yates?
Cassidy. No, but Cassidy, but I'd be like black market stuff, like stuff you could get. Like,
well, Cassidy Yates went to jail.
Right,
my girl. But that was like humanitarian, like Beverly Crusher did the same thing, But listen.
No, she said she wants the black market shit. Don't try to give her no medicine for folks. She said, I got dilithium, I got trilithium.
Hey, look what I got.
Careful with that shit.
Yo, come
no trilithium around here.
I got the good stuff. The good shit. I'd be a space pirate. Yeah.
Love it.
What is your go-to holodeck program?
Oh wow. Definitely. Ooh, it wouldn't be any battle scenes, like I would not be at the Alamo or something stupid like that. No, I would not be suffering for real. I mean, if they could get me, I would be over on the party planet all the time. When on Enterprise, when they went Risa, I would be a Risa like
everybody
big time.
loves a Risa.
Everybody loves Risa.
Yeah, but
I mean, come on.
I would definitely be someplace where everything would just be at my fingertips.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. These are the ones we consider rapid fire, but they're not really rapid fire. Crusher or Pulaski?
Crusher.
Are you taking Worf's Klingon Tai Chi, or are you doing leotard yoga with Beverly and Deanna?
Oh, me and Worf. Let's go. Bat lift the bat lift. Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Are you ordering tea Earl Grey hot or coffee black?
Frappuccino.
Ractigino.
I'm really
gonna say
You need
that.
to add
I'm really
that.
a tea person. I'm really a tea
Oh,
person,
are
but
ya?
I hate Earl Grey. So,
Oh, funny.
so I would
Yeah,
drink
Ractigino it
coffee rather than drink Earl Grey.
Funny, it tastes like Darjeeling.
Yeah, if you got a little Darjeeling in there, maybe, I would take that. But
If you had a replicator sitting next to you right now, what would you order?
a gin and tonic.
Oh, yes.
What kind of gin?
I like Hendrix with a twist of cucumber. Thank you very much.
Cucumber.
Ooh,
This
that sounds
actually-
very refreshing.
Hendrix has cucumber essence in it, so cucumbers actually set it off better than lime.
The cucumber flavor
Right.
is maybe the only thing that could lure me from bourbon to gin these days.
Yeah. But I love my gin.
Okay.
This is a bit of a running gag on our podcast, but are you Team Tasha or Team Armis?
We've broken her.
Oh,
Done.
she gets the joke. She gets the joke.
Armis!
Armis.
I don't know why I'm clapping. I'm Team Tasha, but I love her.
Did
You love it for me.
care.
You love
I
it for
did
me.
not care when she went. I did not care. I was like, yeah, put Worf up there because listen, Armis, go ahead.
Okay.
I love that actress though. I love Denise Crosby, and I
Oh, yeah.
love the
Oh,
way
no,
she
she's
came
great.
back into Star Trek.
We
I love
Denise
all the
Crosby.
iterations.
She said I had to
of how
die
she
to
came
get the
back.
best episode.
Right.
Yeah, she did.
They
Yeah.
Sometimes
had
it
to
has
get rid of
happened.
that character to get something
Mhm.
better. So, but yeah, Tarsha could go.
Well, sometimes I wonder. I don't know that she was going to be Macha Hernandez, right, in the original
Mhm.
Next Generation Bible. So sometimes I wonder, like, would Macha Hernandez have been better than Tasha Yar? Or
Maybe?
would it have been
Maybe.
the same problem?
Oh man.
All right. Anyway.
I don't know.
We
Those
know
are hilarious questions.
we know how you feel about the Vulcans, but what is your favorite alien species?
Oh, the Jem'Hadar.
Ooh.
Told you.
Ramataclan and my boys. Oh my God. On the white, have no sex, and just want to fight all day. I'm like, I'm slaying these people. Second, the Breen. I love them.
Green.
They scared the bejesus out of me. I'm like, oh my God. So, like, wasn't that the Breen they ended up with it in Enterprise? Did they come up against the Breen and they didn't know it yet or whatever? The ones that told them to get out of town.
I'm not actually sure. You
Well,
know,
we're
you
gonna
say
have to-
Breen, and I'm so blinded by.
Oh no, that was the Tholians. They
last
been
season
up
of
against
Discovery.
the Tholians. The Tholians.
Oh, the Tholians. Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
because
yeah,
they're
in Enterprise.
the green see-through people. They creep you out.
Oh,
I'm
the
telling you.
Breen.
The Breen,
see-through
yeah.
people.
The Breen, listen, the Breen in DS9, and we would say, the vet was saying that
right.
the other day. They came into DS9 and came back, attacked Earth. Everything went crazy, and like as a vet said, and Cisco had to go get the Romulans. I mean,
Yeah,
That's real shit.
that's
yeah.
actually true.
hung Worf
I-
upside down like he was a bat. I was like,
Yeah. And I love also that it's the like the sort of Peanuts cartoon teacher situation where they go and everyone answers like it's words, you know?
and they understood everything that was going on.
Yeah.
I said DS9 had Voyager had really great aliens too, but DS9 aliens that put the fear of God in you, the Jem'Hadar and the
Jem'Hadar.
Breen.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, what is a science fiction franchise that you would recommend to Trekkies who are looking to expand their horizons?
Ooh,
Uh,
good question.
For all mankind.
Oh, yeah.
I love that
Great.
one.
Already in our
That's
notes.
Ronald D. Moore, who is
Oh
our
my God,
who is
that is
our,
such a
our
great
Klingon
show.
writer. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
the other
Battlestar
one,
Galactica guy as well.
if you want to go like The Expanse, we've done
Oh.
complete show. We did a complete podcast. I am a total freaking Expanse.
I've
Got
watched
the
some
books.
of that. It's
Haven't read them,
fascinating.
but got the books.
Mhm.
The Expanse was so good. It was so good. Now that's got some powerful women in it.
Sheree
Nice.
Agdashlu is in that, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean the women in The Expanse, like they just were kick ass.
Amazing.
He's writing this down, writing all this down. If you've
Okay,
not
and
seen The Expanse, definitely check that one
Have
out.
not.
And
It's
then,
gonna-
and then yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, last question, and I think
Okay.
I might know the answer. Who's your captain?
Oh, see, that's so hard for me. I
Mm-mm.
get 3.
No. Well, who's your captain today?
Yeah.
In this moment, in this little nugget of time.
I'm gonna say Burnham.
Mm.
Sorry.
I heard this. The
What-
Cisco was
yeah.
coming.
Cisco
no,
is
no,
coming. Cisco is
Sonequa.
coming. Cisco is coming. Cisco, but but I swear to God, though, I'm a child of the '60s. There just was nobody like Captain freaking Kirk. It was like he was
There you
the
go,
man.
right.
He was the man. He was such a. I mean, that was such a good character. It was just, it was just totally great. And he had his flaws, had his bad side, had stuff happened to him, and he had his traumas. And now that we know, more stories about him, but.
What are your this isn't on the list. So obviously Shatner's Kirk, right? But what about the other versions of Kirk? Pine and
Chris Pine is a favorite of mine before he became Captain Kirk. And when I heard he was going to be Kirk, I was like, "Oh, that's perfect."
What did you know him from before Kirk?
He made this movie about going the first California wines that went to France and won a ribbon. And he had this really bad wig on in it, but he was so cute in it. I loved him. Yeah, so he's in this movie. What is it called? And the guy that's in Die Hard is in it. The one the bad guy, Alan Rickman.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Rickman, Chris Pine, and it's a movie about growing wine in California, and he was hilarious in this movie. So I knew him from that, and I can't think of what else I knew him from, but some other stuff because he's like such a surfer boy.
Bottle Shock?
Hmm?
Bottle Shock?
Bottle Shock. That's it.
Mm.
Bottle Shock.
48% on Rotten Tomatoes.
But hey,
don't care
at all. Like not at all. I think that's
matter.
always funny. Like when you look up and it's like, IMDb gave it a 6.8 and Rotten Tomatoes said 48% rotten. Okay.
Oh, it's got like
some of my best.
It's got like
he's got a terrible wig, ma'am.
Oh, it's got the wig. That person should have been shot.
Is dry.
I don't even understand how anybody said roll him
go
with that hair.
with that. Mm-hmm.
Like what are you talking about? But
PG-13.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll
I love movies about growing wine. I love all of them. I will watch them all.
The whole genre. Who knew?
It's a whole genre. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
There's a lot of them. French ones, but I love it. Yeah. So Chris Pine he can do no wrong as far. And I thought he nailed it. I thought he really did. And the Wesley, he took a little bit to grow on me in Strange New Worlds, but after the episode where where they go back in time and he dies, he won me over on that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He
really grew.
Yeah, he really that one hit, and I thought he did a great job in it. And I said, you know what, I do not mind this guy playing Captain Kirk because I mean I'm just gonna get my back up whoever thinks they're Kirk. But,
well, now we have Sam Witwer. Right, Sam Witwer in who the digital the
in that
unification. Yeah.
Right.
Y'all made that seem
Shatner
like
being the stand-in for
was...
Shatner. Oh, you watched it?
Yeah.
Is he the guy from Avatar?
All the blank faces. I have no idea.
He's done a lot.
Wait, who?
But he
Sam
was in this...
He's the guy who wore, they call it digital makeup, right? Isn't that what they call it? Who played Kirk with Kirk's digital face, but the acting is actually done by
in unification, whatever.
That's so AI scary.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I'm like,
y'all,
whole other can of worms.
Yeah, it really is.
It's not even that I'm not into it. I was just like the way that you were like, you didn't watch it. I was like, what the hell did this have to do with goddamn Nexus? It was not. It was 8 minutes.
It's right up there with ET, huh?
I mean, I watched it, but I just was like, I guess in my head, I thought it was something else, right? Like just the way that you all were talking about it, I was like, oh, this is something else.
Sam Worthington, right?
Oh,
Sam.
Is that his name?
Sam.
Because
Witwer.
That's not the same guy.
Because
that's
I
not
said
that's not
Woodward.
guy.
He is a murderer.
So close.
But all the things that we were talking about with this movie are because it was verbally explained by all of the people who made it. Like
Yeah,
all of the things that
watching.
we didn't necessarily get just from watching it, hearing
Yeah.
that we had to hear them explain it to understand it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And that's
You
like,
know?
so that
What
wasn't a
did they
fast color
have to
moment.
explain? He came to a planet. He saw a whole bunch of people. They spread the seas. He walked over. He on a little plank, dying. He touches his hand. They watch the goddamn sunset. The fuck? Like
That's
what
it.
else? Like what are we, y'all?
It
Oh my
wasn't. It
gosh.
wasn't. It wasn't fast color, was it? It wasn't that
It
deep.
wasn't
Like
fast color.
the way that they talked about this thing, like, I can't believe you didn't watch it. Well, I didn't need
No,
to.
the reason we couldn't believe that you didn't watch it is because we all agreed to watch it.
Right. And
I
we
don't
sent you the link. We
Oh.
I don't
texted you
remember.
the
She
link
just
to
didn't
the
read
video.
to the bottom of the email.
Oh, she's
Sure
just being
did.
passive aggressive now.
No, I'm always aggressive. That's
Yeah, no, there's very little passive here.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I guess this is the last question. Where can people find you?
Oh,
the
you can find us. You can find us at SyFysisters.com. That's SyFysistas.com. And we are also on we are now on Blue Sky, and where you can find all of our Sci-Fi Sister Inc. shows. All of us are there. Two Moons and a Mic, Soul of the Story, CinnCine Goes SyFy, and the live show, of course, all on Blue Sky. Just also want to say this next season of CinnCine Goes SyFy is going to start on January 29th. So be there 9:30 on Wednesday, January 29th, and I will reveal later what my first movie is going to be. And also look for the Sci-Fi Sisters at Trek Talks, which is going to be on January 18th. We are going to be doing our bit for the Hollywood Food Coalition, doing another round with Trek Talks, and I hope that everybody can join us for that day and raise some money for a very good cause.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you again so much for being here, and for this has just been amazing.
Thank you for the movie.
Yes.
Oh, you guys have been great. I feel like vindicated with this film. So.
Listen, you anybody against it, you have them call me.
All right.
Just you and me together against
We're
the
gonna
world.
go in. We're gonna go in an Internet Movie Database and rate it up.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Serious fingers.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your pods. You can find us on Blue Sky now. We're also on YouTube and all the socials at Hailing Freak Open, and on our webpage at hailingfrequenciesopen.com. And with that, I will thank my co-hosts and say, Hailing Frequencies closed.
No goodbyes. Just good memories. Hailing Frequencies closed, sir.